last section, which is, this thing would work for me. We're going to circle our missing parts. So it could be either a nominative, it could be a sub, or it could be our accusative, or, you know, and we have to make sure that it's matching in both subject-verb agreement. So our subject has to match our verb. Or if it's an accusative, it has to make sense within the sentence. Like, if we're missing an accusative, who are they doing it? You know, we're practicing our forms, what they look like. So, in agris laborat. So we know that our subject is plural, so they work in the fields. Laborat does not need a direct object, so we know, since it is an intransitive verb, that we don't need a direct object, so we need a subject. Who is working in the fields? Servos Romanos, servi Romani, servum Romanum, or servus Romanus. Okay, so we know it's not servos Romanus because that is our accusative plural. And we know it's not servum Romanum because that is our accusative singular. Now we have servi Romani and we have servus Romanus. We both know these are nominatives, but if we look at our verb, we see the NT, which is telling us it is plural. So, find our plural subject. In this case, it is servi Romani, not servus Romanus, because that's singular. Servi Romani. The I is telling us it is plural, nominative plural. Next. Blank Saipe Cornelius et Aurelia reprehendunt. So, we know these are our subjects because they're in our nominative forms, our simplest us, a forms. So Cornelius and Aurelia, they get on to something. So we need an accusative. We need a direct object because this is a transitive verb. You can't just get onto. You need to get onto something. So let's look through our sentence and find an accusative that will work. Ancilla, ancillai, ancellam, servus, servi. Ancilla is our nominative singular, so we know that's not it. Ancillai is nominative plural, so we know that's not it. Ancillam we know is accusative because the am, so that could work. Servus, we know that is nominative, so that won't work. And then servi, we know that is nominative because it ends with the I, just like up here, so that's not it. So ancillam is our accusative in this sentence. So Cornelius and Aurelia get on to the slave lady often. Alright. Let me go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Okay. Next one. Sub arbore cornelium videt. So, under the tree, something, we don't know what it is, but we know Cornelia is not our subject because it is in our accusative case. The am is telling us it is accusative. So, something sees, like a video, like if you're watching a video, like you're watching a video right now, video, to see, you see a video, sees Cornelia. Who is seeing Cornelia? So, is it our puella, puellai, puellas, or puellai? So, here, I'm just going to scratch out one of the puellais because we got two of them. So, it's either one of these three. What do we know about our subject? If we look at here, well, first, actually, let's just say puellas. We know that is accusative, right? Because of, if we know our endings, it is a, I, well, nominative, accusative, singular, I, us, nominative, accusative, plural. So, this is our accusative plural ending for our first declension verb, or nouns. So we know that's not it. So it's either puella or puella. We look at the verb, because that's how we can determine what the number of our subject is. With that, we know it is with the T, O, S, T, must, tis, int, I, you, he, she, it, we, y'all, they. So it has to be singular, not plural, and the only singular option here is puella. Next sentence. In piscinium, blank caudent, et pueros, blank terrent. Terrent. So, we look at it. What are we missing here and what are we missing here? Well, we're missing a subject for this because, what is falling into it? Something falls into the fish pond, in plus accusative N2. And blank scares the boys. This isn't timid, where the subject is scared or fears. It's terret, which is where something scares you. So, look at for the first answers. Let's see. Has to be nominative. So, we can scratch out the because that is accusative, and we can scratch out the os because that is accusative. Look at our two options, statua, statuae. Look at our verb. Our ending has an nt, and so we know if that is plural. That means statuae is our subject for number 4 for the first part. And the second part, we got pueros, which we know is the accusative, and so something is scaring the boys. And if we look at our options, we got a singular nominative, we got a singular accusative, so we know it's not that because it's accusative. We need a subject, we need a nominative. We got a plural accusative, which we know is not that because again, we need a nominative. And then we got magni fragores, which is our second declension ending I, second or third declension ending es for our nominative. So it's one of these two. And then we look at our verb, and terrent and t, meaning plural again. So it would be magni fragores. Not that, because that is singular. Okay. On to the next. Okay, these are our last 3. So, we got Cornelia does not love. We need a subject, or not a subject, a direct object. We have a subject, Cornelia, but we need a direct object. You can love, but what do you love? I love this chair. I love this pen, right? So, who does Cornelia love? Does she love a nominative, plural, pueri, because the I is telling us it's nominative, plural. A nominative, singular, puer, because it is one of our second declensions with no endings. Or pueros, or accusative, plural. And we know that accusative is the direct object, so that means pueros should be our answer for this one. Number 6, blank, Marcus, conspexit, eum, repellere, perat. Look at the sentence, and so Marcus, we know is our subject because it has the US, right? Marcus, conspecit, catch a sight of. So, catch a sight of what? What are we catching sight of? So that means we need a direct object, because you can't just catch sight of. You need to catch sight of something, because this is a transitive verb. So conspicit, we need a accusative. So lupus, we know that has a US, so we know it's nominative, so we don't want that. Lupum, It has a UM, so we know that's accusative, and then loop B is nominative plural, so we don't want that either. So we want loop them. Alright, pueri sunt blank. Here we know that sunt, sum est, sum est, sumus estis sunt is our irregular verb meaning to be. But right here, sunt is a linking verb. Remember, if something is, it is equal. They are linking each other. So that means that we need to look for not an accusative, because the accusative case is not, you don't link it to an accusative. They have to be equal in case, number, and gender. We need to find a complement in this section, not an not a direct object, and not another subject. A complement. So we look at it. Parentius. This is masculine because the US. It is singular because the US. It would be I if it was plural. And then we know the case is nominative. So because it doesn't match this pueri is nominative, obviously. It is plural and it is masculine. So this has two out of the three, but we need all three. So it's not parentitus. This one, parteritum, it is singular, so we know it doesn't work because the it doesn't work, and we also know it's accusative. It can't be accusative, so we're going to scratch that out. Pariteriti, we know that the I is telling us it is nominative because our second declension endings, nominative plural. So that's 2, and then it's also masculine, so they pretty much match with their endings. But let's just go ahead and look up the other ones just to make sure and know if they're not the reasons why. Paritertos, this is accusative because the os, and so we know this is not it because accusative. We need a complement that matches with the case, nominative. Paritertai, this is plural, and this is nominative. But the issue is with this word is we got an AE, which means it's feminine, and it's pueri feminine. Hopefully you said no because those are boys. So pueri has to be masculine with the complement. The complement has to be masculine. And pariterta is similar to paritertos, but it's feminine, so it's nominative, it's singular, and it's feminine, so this only matches in the case. So it's pariterti with an I, because these have to be matching in nominative, in case, and in gender, because this is going to describe pueri. The boys are scared. And finally, we got subito lupum blank conspicuant et ad velam current. So, subito, suddenly, something catches sight of a wolf and runs to the country house. So if we look at the thing, we need a subject. Who is catching sight of? Who is running? And if we look down here, we have all these answers. So let's go ahead and get rid of anything that's accusative because we need nominative. We need a subject, not a direct object. So puella, that is nominative. We can keep it because the A is telling us it is nominative. Pueros, it is not nominative because the OS is telling us it is accusative, meaning it's the direct object. We already have one of those. So let's scratch that out. Puellai, we know that is nominative because the AE, nominative plural. Puer is one of our 6 words that doesn't have an ending, but it is singular, and it is nominative as well. And servus is also a subject. It is singular nominative, with the US is telling us it is second declension. So now let's look at our verbs to determine what the number of our subject is going to be. Is it singular or is it plural? If you look at the verb, you see an NT, and that should tell you that it is plural. Plural ending is NT, the singular ending will just be T. So if there was not an N here, it would be a singular subject. But since there is an N there, we need to find a plural subject. So puella, we just said, if it's a, it is singular, so it can't be puella. Puellai, it is plural. Ae is plural, so it could be that. Puer is singular, because we know that's just one of our basic words that doesn't have an ending for second declension. And servus is going to be singular because it doesn't end with an I, because it's masculine. It's going to be us. So the answer for number 8 would be puellai. I hope this helps you, and I hope you guys are ready to conquer that test when you come back from break. Thanks.